The very first place in the Bible that we see any of Satan's activity is Genesis 3 when he appears to Eve. And what does he do? His very first strategy and his number one strategy is he speaks contrary to what God says. Now, if you remember, Eve had the word. She had the word. She knew of the fruit of the tree that's in the midst of the garden, I shall not eat it. That was saying what God said. So she knew that word. She heard it. She understood it. She repeated it. I'm not supposed to eat it. Of course, she added to it and said, nor touch it. So she had the word. She quoted the word. She believed the word. But then all of a sudden, she received a contradictory word from the serpent. Now, when Satan comes, he's very subtle. As a matter of fact, in Genesis 3, verse 1, I think it said the serpent was the most subtle beast. So Satan is subtle. He is not going to just appear to you with horns and a pitchfork and try to convince you to do something wild and outlandish because you'd never fall for it. Be no temptation at all with that. So he subtly comes in the form of words, and those words come in the form of thoughts. So you could know what the word says, but a thought could come that says the opposite to you. And that opposite thought is going to make good sense. Because if it didn't, you wouldn't be tempted to believe it. So when the devil told Eve, well, God knows you'll not surely die. For in the day that you eat of it, you're going to be wise. You're going to be able to discern between good and evil. So what did he do? He contradicted what God said, but he gave a reasonable argument. So Eve fell for it. What did she do? She heard the word, but then she wasn't a doer of it, because the original word was don't eat it. But instead of doing what God said, she started entertaining the subtle thoughts of Satan. And the way I see this is, she got to the place where it seemed harmless. But how many know there was more harm done that day than it has ever been done since that day? So the point I'm making is that if you're not a doer, you could think, well, everything will be okay. But Jesus said here, great was the fall. Sometimes the little things that you think are no big deal can become your greatest downfall if you don't guard your life. If you don't guard your thoughts, your words, your actions. Amen.